Right, so we're live, and we should be on this time, as far as I'm concerned. We should be all on and going, not like Sunday where I just don't hit right button. I have tonight. So welcome to Mixing with Bennett and Friends. My friends is getting larger. This show is getting phenomenal. We're getting more and more friends now, from all over the world. So yeah, so you're privileged to be join us on this journey. So we'll start off who we've got. We have got Kentucky Bill, normal co-host. We've got Bobo from Vape as other co-host. We have got Big D, who joins us, who's a non-mixer, who's just here to tap us on and say, what you doing, what do we do this, just so we know from a non-vaping mixing point of view. And we've also got Net Reality, who is going to be our fourth co-host, I'm suspecting. He's a bit nervous, so treat him well. And then we've got our special guest from Down Under, DIY Down Under, it's Pippa. So, hello everybody, are you all right?
What's happening?
Good morning, good evening. Hello, hi, and thank you for having me.
No problems.
Anytime.
So,
Thank you
good
for
evening to everybody in chat. So, we'll go around right quick and see what we're vaping on, and then we'll get into tonight's topic, which is custards. So, I will pass it on to Danny.
Well, mate, I'm on the Sigali Cronus mod with the Zeus XRTA. And inside that, I'm on Sad Boys Blueberry Jam Cookie, rather. I'm also on the Oxford, which is really good. The coil quality is very, very good. Similar to the Geek Vape Boost. And inside that, I'm on Just Juice, which is, I forget the fucking name now, Fusion, which is a berry and lemonade. And I'm on my Smock RPM 80 Pro. And inside that, I'm checking out Dinner Lady's Purple Rain, which is a bit like a blackcurrant candy. It's quite pleasant, actually. Review coming out soon for that. I'm also on the Crown 4 mod with the Key Solomon Mesh RTA. Inside that is Scott's Coils as well. And the juice in that is Zeus Juice Black Reloaded. And I'm also on the Geek Vape X mod with the Trilogy RTA from Vapors Cloud. And inside that, Just Jam Raspberry. Very nice. And that is me done. So I'll pass it over to Kentucky Bill.
Oh, thank you, Dan. That was very interesting there. I switched to the other camera, but no, I'm not going to. I'm on. Yeah, I am on the. Now you've got me all flustered. Dan, I don't even know what the hell I'm vaping on. You know, I'm on the Saga with the Peacemaker with the 9mm bubble glass on top of it today, and inside that I have some strawberry shortcake that I made here a week or so ago that I am just loving to death. And I am on the Luxottics NC with the Blitzen RTA on that, and in that I have strawberries and cream. And lastly, I just wicked this up because I just got it. I am on the Vert with the Squid Industries Chief King on top, and in that I have some Belgian waffle maple that I made up, and I will pass it over to Bobo.
Yeah, I'm very hungover today. Very, very hungover. So I've got no Corona. I'm on the Lemo. But vape-wise, I have got the Magma box mod with the, what is it? The MD, the mouth RTA rather, and my screen has died on my Magma, so I'm quite gutted. I've also got a new toy which came in. It's the Olden 200 watt version, and I've got the Bonza sat on top of there with some of Chris Lethal Coils' coils in there. And I'm also on a little bit of custard glazed donut from Kingston because none of my custard concentrates arrive while they should. I've got a 50-50 trapple from my own range inside of this. That's pretty much everything. I'm going to pass it on to Net Reality. Graham, welcome to the show.
Okay, cheers. I'm on the Aegis Legend, the nice one, with the barrage on top, which I've been vaping on for, now 3 months, that setup. Just just absolute brilliant.
Yeah.
I've got, this is my flavour setup. I've got the Speeder with a Hadley clone on top.
I've got an Adley clone.
Oh, they're dead cheap. £5 from Fast Tech.
Yeah. I've got one as well, mate.
In the Aegis, I've got Sexy Peachy. I thought I'd put the word sex in a vape recipe, see if more people viewed it, and it worked. And in the tasting at the moment, I'm doing a toffee crisp with 3 flavors, which is, well, I've already vaped a load of it, which it's supposed to be left for another week. And I'm vaping on the Artery Pal, and that's got wherever it is. Well, it's got me CBD in, which I've been vaping quite a lot before the show.
What Subida brand do you use?
It's homemade. It's got weird bits in the bottom,
Right.
white leaves.
Have you heard of a brand called Orange County? Because I'm in the process of bringing CBD in. There's a few people I know within the industry who started using a few months back Orange County CBD. It's supposed to be good.
Oh no, I just use Isolate.
Right, and that and Peng as well apparently is supposed to be good. Peng CBD. The guy who does Flavor Freaks e-liquid, he owns that.
Well, I use Isolate because it helps anxiety. It doesn't really do anything for pain. It just helps anxiety.
Yeah.
So it was useful before the show.
I just use it to get fucked.
And I'm on Yes Sweet Cheesecake Vodka.
Yes.
That helps anxiety before the show as well. And go over to Pippa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What am I on? Oh God, I didn't prepare to have all these fancy setups. God, I've got about 48 mine. I'll grab whatever's on my table. I'm with you, Graham. Yeah, I've got the good old reliable. I love the original Aegis Legend. In my opinion, is a lot less frustrating and a lot better mod and nice and easy to have my recurve RDA on there for flavor testing. And you know, I've got the good old Zeus sub-ohm tank. It's nice when I'm testing commercial mixes and stuff like that. So I've got the old Aegis X Solo with the button configuration that drives your batty. I've got the little rainbow matchy Recurve Dual 2 on the old Tesla steampunk thingy. And I have the Double Squid Industries with the Freemax sub-ohm tank, big bubble tank on there. Guess what's in there? Shitload of custard. And because I like custard. And of course, I could not go without showing off this one. Look, not because it's a wonderful classic as Modus Minikin version 1.5. It's a classic for those into retro vaping. But it also has what I call the J Hayes missing inch strip tip on there. So I'm not going to get the trouble. Not going to get the channel in the trouble, Jay. I'm sure will appreciate that joke, but that's his missing inch right there. Otherwise, I am enjoying. Let me see if I can do this. I am enjoying this wonderful recipe on all the flavors that I've just released and called Custard Cracked. I'm going to have to make myself up an extra 250 mils today so I can survive. Look, I'll vape all sorts of stuff, but we'll get into that later, I guess, as the show goes on.
Yeah, if you just type something into chat, Pippa, I'll make you a moderator, and then you can put your links to all your flavours in there.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then if anybody wants to go and have a look, and I keep popping up that from there, bloody hell.
Okay. All right.
Reverend V's in the house.
Yeah, I've seen. So who's left to go? Is me and Bobo.
No, just you.
Oh,
Benny.
just me? Oh,
Bobo,
right.
Bobo's gone. Yeah.
Right, I've got you 1 second then. That. There you go. Right, so what I am on is, if I can find it, the Vaporesso Gen with the Fat Rabbit on top, and inside that I have got Strapple Reborn. It's all right. It's a raspberry ice cream thing.
Nice.
It's fair play. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not the best ice cream I've tasted, that's for sure. Aegis X with the Solomon mesh on top, and inside that I've got some Jeffrey's, I think it's Cocktail Dreams daiquiri, which I found in my cupboard. And then I've got my little mangles, and that has got some black in it. And that is me. So that
What do you think of the mesh, the Solomon mesh, Mark?
Do you what, mate?
What do you think of the Solomon mesh?
I think it's really good.
I've not re-whipped mine since I did the review.
Right? Have you not?
No, it's doing really good.
I'm not.
Yeah. Impressed. It's a bit like plain looking, a bit boring, but performance-wise, very good.
What it's about, though, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1 second, because I'm doing... Ask me things while I'm doing stuff, and I can't multitask. I'm a bloke.
You give me Ashley one.
I can multitask. I can breathe through both nostrils.
That's about the only thing I can do. I've got everything going on, and I'm like, oh, no. Right, so we can calm down a little bit now. So we're going to be talking about custards, and we've got to say thank you for Pippa for coming on. It is now there, 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's now on Thursday. We're in Wednesday.
These bloodshot eyes aren't from Bankstein. They are just from being up a little bit early.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming on at this ungodly hour, because I'd have been still in. I wouldn't have been up. I can only get up 5 minutes before work.
Best part of the day normally. Best part of the day. Still is. It's just got better.
Exactly. So we'll have a quick jump into the chat and just say a quick hellos before we crack on, because people are putting in, and I will go down. If I miss anybody, I do apologise. So Reverend V, welcome. Ash, West Yorkshire Vapor.
Illuminati.
You alright, mate? Michelle Hughes, welcome. Kentucky Bill. Pippa. Steve Meyer, welcome. Mad Daddy, welcome. Net Reality, welcome, mate. Welcome to the show. Is it Leander Manga? Welcome. Graham Spires, welcome. Tolomat, welcome. Cole UK, welcome, mate. Mark H, welcome. Skimp Vapor, welcome. Paul Anderson, welcome. Glad you got your package, mate. Liz, welcome.
Not seen Liz for a bit.
Peter, welcome. Terry Tyre, welcome. LJ, you alright, buddy? Welcome. Stuart Ayton, you alright, mate? Coming down, I'm getting Dion78, welcome. Scottish Jim. And then we're getting down to the bottom now. Black Cap, hashtag 5 minutes down. I missed someone out that said they'd been come over from Little Bro show.
That was Scottish Jim.
Oh, Les is in. Welcome, Les. You alright, mate?
Hey.
Right, so...
The Vapor.
Right, we're back. Relax now, relax. So we decided we'd do custards. And like I say, I ordered some custards in. I was panicking this morning that they wasn't going to come in. And so I ordered up some vanilla custard V2 from TFA because everybody's saying it's a really good custard, so I wanted to try that. I think Graham's got that in as well, haven't you, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to obviously mix a little bit of that up and just give that a try. I also got some Inawera custard, which I think Bill's got as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but don't knuckle test it.
Yeah. And I got some craft flavours from Nom Noms, which we're starting to think that it could well be Flavour Art because it's got a lemon. Would it Flavour Art that you said got a lemon on it?
Yeah, it does have a lemon taste.
That's same as that. So I think it's just a lemon. I've just got in, Les. No problems, mate. No problems. We'll get you on. To jump on next. We talk about donuts, I think, next week. So might go to talk about donuts if you want to jump on next week. And yeah, so custards obviously need a lot. Oh, there we go. Got backgrounds flying up and down now. He's found his background button. There we go.
Donuts.
So yeah, custards obviously need a long steep if you're going to do it. They're not a thing that you can do them straight off at bat. You can't just mix them up and vape them straight away. You've got to let them come out. You've got to let them mature a little bit. Capella V2, V1, the longer you can leave it, the better it's going to taste. Obviously, if you are using V1, just remember that it's got things in it that not necessary. That taste them makes it taste really, really nice, but it's some of the diacetyl in it, so that's what gives it that nicer flavour than everything else, basically.
It's illegal, basically.
Yeah.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal. You can still use it, but you just,
Yeah.
Well, you can't use it in regulated e-liquid.
Even if you pushed Capella V1, it'd be still 1/4000th, at least 1/4000th of the amount of diacetyl there would be from one puff with a cigarette. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't get it. With all this popcorn lung that came out of nowhere that said we're all going to die from it, and so.
Oh, it's like the whole thing where, like, I get it quite a lot, like working in a shop, the amount of people that go, "Is this gonna give me popcorn lung?" It's like, no, it's not.
I might blow your mind a little bit today, Benny, because custard doesn't have to be a steeping e-liquid like what we think. We don't have to necessarily wait 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. There are some custards out there that you can have ready to go within a week or less.
Right. There we go. So we're going to get a little insight there.
I'm all ears.
So there you go. And one of them is custard cracked.
So you can go and have a look at Pippa's recipe. Obviously, don't need a lot of steeping there, so where to go? So,
exactly. Look, you can. It's good off. It's good off the shake. It's not bad in 24 hours. It's great in a week.
Yeah, all right, Liz. Yeah, sounds good if you join the front shop next week. So what flavour that I've tested them against the others. So people are saying different things, different custards. Custards is your personal preference. Find a custard that you like, and you'll probably love it forever. If you want it, you obviously add your creams to it. If you want it a little bit creamier, play around with it. Custard is a versatile little thing. Because a lot of recipes are out there with different sort of custards in it, and each custard just tastes different. I've got to say that different custards taste different. I prefer Capella V2, and that's controversial because a lot of people don't like it.
It is. Yeah, it's horribly controversial because I just find it like a basically a bowl of mess that really doesn't belong anywhere, and even in 4 weeks it doesn't get much better. So, but that's just me.
I just like V2.
It's subjective, and I think it's one of those things. Some people like things sweeter, some people like things less sweet, some people want it creamier, some people want it eggier. Eggier is an important one when we talk about custards. Some people want that caramel edge. People want more spice, vanilla spice, rather than smooth spice. And look, I'll tell you what I put it down to, Benny and guys and girls, is that it's all about that experience, the experience that you've had in your life with your olfactory system, with your taste buds. What have you been used to? What were you raised on? Was it Nan? Those fond memories of Nan stirring the custard on the stove when you grew up, and there was certain hints of aromas and stuff like that give you a really likable familiarity. So I think that's what comes into it, a lot of flavour memory, and that's scientifically that's really built in your first 10 years of life apparently.
For me, I'm a custard virgin. Yeah. See, I'm a custard virgin, so I don't. I've never tasted custard. Ever.
He's never had custard?
Of any kind, vaped it, tasted it, nothing. Never had a bite of custard. Custard has never touched my taste buds. Never.
I don't get how you've never had custard.
I never have.
Lactose intolerant or something?
I think for me, it's just ambrosia cream custard.
Yes.
And I think it's for 4 of us on here. We're all going to go ambrosia cream custard.
I always thought that school made the best custards. When you were at school as a kid, the best custards ever. That's it.
The only good memory from school.
I don't think your memory is very good.
you know what mine was? A packet of Birds custard.
Oh, Bears.
You know,
Tin.
Mum were making it over thing. A packet of Birds custard. They used to put in a jug, mix it with a fork, and that was it. It was done. It was powdered custard. That's what we used to have.
And that's why you like the
That's probably why I
one,
like
the
V2.
Capella that you like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just powdered custard with water in it.
that's what Capella got their flavoring from. Right?
Yeah, powdered bird custard. So yeah, but I do prefer now as I've got older. I do prefer the Ambrosia Devon custard, which is more creamier. You know, it's not as dense and as thick. Because I hate thick custard. I don't know about you, but I hate thick custard. But yeah.
I hate the
So we're kind of
skin.
raised on. Do you have puddings? It's not very big on in South in custards apparently. Michelle's saying.
Yeah, well, look, I think the Americans were raised on really weird things, weren't they? Is it really fair to compare an honest palate with an American palate? I mean, for God's sakes, their apple pies, they're used to being in the shape of a long pillow wrapped in cardboard handed to you through a window. You know, it's fair for them, and they think that's an apple pie. You know, quite often that is their first experience at an apple pie. Let's be fair.
To be fair, I think a lot of people in this day and age, that is their experience of apple pie anywhere around the world.
Yeah, actually, to be fair,
What I mean?
you're right.
Because it's not a thing that baking now has come. Obviously, that's come a long way from when we were kids. Because my mum and dad used to bake. Now that Bake Off's back on, it is baking. But first experience is an apple pie from a McDonald's.
Mine would have been my mom made cobblers. She made apple cobblers with just the strips across, put the spice and the cinnamon and the apples and everything in, and then just put the strips across, and then it just made it that way more of a cobbler than a pie. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, what's a cobbler?
Well, it's basically kind of a pie shaped like a cake, as far as I was ever concerned. I never saw much difference in the two, to be honest with you. It's just got the only thing I saw different was it had more of a different shape, but she called it a cobbler. Yeah.
I've got a berry cobbler in my shop from a company called Cyclops, which is massive in America, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like a crumble.
Yeah.
Not a crumble.
It belongs to custard.
Never had a crumble.
But for mine, it gives it's a profile that belongs with custard. I mean, yeah, you can pair it with ice cream, but it's so much better with a really nice, warm, rich, thick custard. Because our apple profiles, I think a lot of people either love them or hate them because sometimes a little bit of a rough ride without, say, something like a custard to sort of iron out those rough edges, if you like, that are quite often present in some apple e-liquids to some people. So, yeah, I think custard is absolutely shines when it comes to e-liquid with the right apple pie.
Yeah, apple pie is obviously most people have experiences apple pie and custard. We have apple rhubarb and custard in a what is it? In a crumble. It is sort of that sort of flavours that you are going to be looking at, that you want to sort of be looking at making with your custards, either a custard straight or the custard with your pies or your crumble or and some fruit. It's usually like your tangier fruits, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's if you have like your apple, like your not as sweet, your custard usually gives that sweetness on your apples, and on your rhubarb because that's quite tart, So yeah, you're sort of playing around with them sort of flavours. But yeah, so who's obviously next you've used custards quite a lot, and I've just told you I like Capella V2. Yeah. What's your favourite to be using?
Capella V1 for the inside of donuts because it's really thick and eggy and gives you that kind of, and it goes great with the donuts as well because it seems to just go thicker with the donut. And I tend to use is it Subarome donut, which is that kind of like yeasty jam donut that you get, and it just goes fantastic with that. And the other one is the Custard Premier, which is the Flavour Art one. I think you've just got that one.
No, I ain't got that one.
It's just like a toned down version of Capella V1.
Right.
It's less thicky and eggy. It's slightly lighter, and I just stick either some shortbread in it. But I discovered I stuck Wonder Flavors jam scone in it.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I missed which customers that was. That FA Premium? We're talking about FA Premium.
Yeah, that's FA Premium. But it turned the scone into like a shortcake. So it was just like melted shortcake in custard with bits and lovely. And but I decided to add my favourite jam to it, and it just took it up to a next level, which is the 1-on-1 strawberry jam.
Oh wow, Graham!
Which is just it's just lovely. I can't taste strawberries.
Okay, not.
No.
Yeah, some people can't. We heard about that last week. Some people just can't taste the strawberry.
Oh,
There's certain ones I can taste. I can taste the inner strawberry, thank God. Yeah, the shisha strawberry. I can taste the flavor art strawberry, but I can't taste the strawberry ripe and the Capella strawberry. And when I put them together, it tastes like, I don't know if I should say this, the worming strawberry milkshake you used to get when you were a kid to get rid of your worms. I was born. That's what I remember. I don't know if I ever had worms, or I was drinking something which was supposed to be for the dog.
You had a lot of this strawberry.
Yeah,
if you can't taste liquid barn strawberry, you're lucky because it's not good.
I'm really impressed by that combo. I'm really impressed by that combination of jam scone, FA Premium custard, and some 1-on-1 strawberry jam.
Yeah.
I've only heard great things about 1-on-1 strawberry jam. I haven't got it in my hands yet, but I've worked with a lot of jam flavors and created jams when there hasn't been great jam flavors over the years. But that sounds really, really good because the jam gone by Wonder Flavors is a great baseline flavor, as quite often a lot of Wonder Flavors are. They're great baseline flavors to build off, to add nuances and accenting to. And but I can see there's that silky type of creamy note that's in there that would do nothing but to complement. Yeah, and that bit of bakery in the background. Geez, that's smart mixing, Graham. Have you been going at this for a while or what?
Well, I've only ever had 8 commercial juices. So I've been vaping for about nearly 3 years, and I'm a cheapskate. Right. So I went out and bought some commercial juice, and then by about 12, I bought it in the morning. By about 12 o'clock, I had to go to the shop again to get some more, and I just thought, I can't do this.
Yeah, they're just saying in chat, you need to your mic. Have you got it on your mic?
Is that better?
That's better. Yeah,
that's better.
Yeah,
it's
kind of cracking off is what it is. Yeah.
Hold on, wait a sec. That better?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So I just suddenly realized this is going to get really, really expensive. So I just went out and got some flavors. And I've just been, when I work, I have 2 monitors, and on the other monitor I have flavor shows on. Just in the background, constantly in the background. So I'm just picking things up. And most of it's just picked up from other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And it's a great way to learn because there's so many fantastic DIY shows, and as this one is becoming, fast becoming. And it's a great way to really, really pick up and obviously have it. And I'm like, I'm a bit jealous. I won't lie. A bit jealous because back 4 years ago when I started mixing, I didn't get involved in the community straight away. I grabbed my TFA popcorn at 10%. I grabbed my TFA honey at 5%, and I mixed that. And I wanted to like that, but there is no way in history that is ever going to be a great mix. It's not even going to be a good mix. And but hey, we live, we learn, and by learning through others and a sense of community is fantastic, right?
Yeah. And like Tweets just said in there, Noted's are really good. There's 136 episodes, is there now, of Noted?
Yeah, phenomenal, those guys and girls.
It is. If you've never heard of Noted, it's on DIY or Die channel. It is a lot of people that are in the mixing, and they go over each flavour each week more in depth than I could ever do, to be fair. And they'll pick up, and they've gone through all sorts, and it's a really good show to pick up different people have different perspectives of where you can play with a concentrate. You know, some people might say, "Oh well, I only use vanilla custard at 2%." Other people say, "Well, no, take it up to 5, drop it down." You know what I mean? And they go through that, and they go through, "Oh yeah, I don't like this, I don't like that. This is what I like." And it's a bit like this is doing at the moment where we're talking about it. This is more for people who don't know about Noted or know about DIY or Die or know about the other shows. This is just a stepping stone into looking further into your mixing career, about going out there and having a look at seeing what...
channel.
Say that again.
I'll just put a link into DIY or Die's channel.
All right, yeah. He was the first person that I looked at. Well, there was Les. Les Picking was one of the first ones that I found for mixing, juice cabin. And then obviously I looked into who else was doing it as well, and then I found out Wayne Walker, and you know, I think he should have a lot more subs than what he's got, to be fair. And he's done so much for the community side of things. You know, I've actually got Goldfish's apple butter. Just sort of got that in yesterday. That one, DIY or Die's Mixing Club Championship 2016. That one, or 17.
Oh yeah, apple butter, or however
Apple
you.
butter. Is that how you say
I never
it,
actually. I don't think I ever mixed that one. But yeah, I know a lot of people.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
I've got Watermelon, the DIY's Watermelon in this.
I've got some upstairs, Watermelon.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, look, I think it might be a little bit controversial in saying this. I think Wayne is fantastic for the beginner mixer. He breaks it down, keeps something pretty simple, helps you get on your way to mix something mixable, vapeable, and decent to get started off with. I don't think he's really, really good at getting baseline flavors and commercially viable type of flavors really well. I think if you want to sort of dabble, get a little bit fancier, that type of thing, that's where maybe Fresho 3, don't get me wrong, he helps a lot of baseline flavors and beginners as well.
Fresho 3, fresh from the kitchen.
Having some a lot more on the really super duper fun and frivolity side of flavor mixing, and so much to learn through Fresho 3, who's certainly one that I watched a hell of a lot. But it's also a matter of getting to know a lot of the good mixers handles, if you like, on eliquidrecipes.com and around all the flavors, because I even had a situation this week where I had someone who was new to mixing, saw 3 or 4 recipes on alltheflavors.com and just thought because they were on alltheflavors.com that they were all good, and he was disappointed to find that, unfortunately, the 4 that he's mixed just weren't his cup of tea.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of getting to know somebody's palate and whether that mixer has a similar palate to yours. And you can only do this, I guess, by mixing more of other people's recipes on things you think you'd like and learning more from those particular recipes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So... going on, we didn't ask you, people, we'll ask you first, how did you get into mixing? And then we'll go on to custards.
Yeah, look, how I got into mixing nearly 4 years ago, look, quite frankly, I got into mixing literally about 2 to 3 weeks after I started vaping, go figure. I did try some commercial e-liquid, and I loved it. But I did come across Wayne, I did come across Fresho 3, Jennifer Jarvis, and a few of these type of people online. That's right, it was Amsterdam Vaping. Amsterdam Vaping has a channel there where I saw his video about how easy that e-liquid is to make, because of course, you're week 2 or 3 into mixing and you want to learn how everything is done. well, look, I'm that type of nerd. Okay, I can admit that, and I want to work out how things are done. So I understand vaping, and then from there went on with Wayne and Fresh 03, etc., and then had a good go at it. And and before I knew it, I was mixing TFA popcorn, as I said before, and honey, and ending up with in pain and disappointment, and then realised that maybe there's a little bit more to this, and understanding flavours a lot better, and single flavour testing, and learning how to sort of layer flavours and blend flavours, and working out what top notes are and bottom notes are, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's basically how I got into mixing. I literally was addicted, for want of a better way of putting it, for nearly 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week, on average for at least the first 3 months. For I had my first commercial e-liquid line in one of the largest vape shops here in southeast Queensland, Australia, and went absolutely great guns. From then on, I've done some commercial mixing in the background. I've done lots of public mixing, of course, over the years, because I believe there's a lot of commercial liquid mixers that just don't want to be all secretive, no, we can't share our secrets. But I think that you can still certainly give back from where you learned from, because whether you're a commercial mixer or not, it's where you started. You started without being a commercial mixer. You started by learning from the community, generally speaking. And
pinching recipes.
And look, that's going to happen. I mean, let's not kid ourselves at all. It happens, I know a few of mine have, I think they could have stolen better recipes than they pinched, but, hey, they probably didn't pinch my best ones, but then again, that just shows how subjective things really are. But in saying that, look, I really, really enjoyed more than any of that. Being able to, my ultimate goal really has always been the advocacy side of things. And because it's like, well, hang on, well, here's this opportunity in our hands, the best technology in our hands, the best time in history ever to save or an opportunity to at least help over 1 billion people get off the smokes. And one of the biggest problems is affordability, and also having something to match a palate. And through DIY, I believe you can connect a lot of dots for a lot of people, and to help them come into vaping something comfortably and beautifully, and with a heap of engagement, which is, let's face it, engagement with vaping in any way, shape or form is paramount to staying off those stinkies. So it all meshes into one beautiful, big, shiny, glossy rainbow ball for me. And that's basically how I got into mixing, and why I kind of do what I do. I just really, really enjoy putting out content and helping others.
That's the thing. When you've come from that, it's nice to give back. If you do commercial juice now, so what I was saying about the other week, if someone's company went under, would they prepared to release recipes? You're not going to do all with them if you're not using them anymore. So why not give them back to people that have bought your juice over years? If you're stopping doing one, that you're not going. Problem you have is, like I was saying, is that once it's out there, it's free game for anyone in it. That's the problem. And there is some unscrupulous businesses that will take your recipe and use it for their gain.
Most commercial recipes and stuff, juices that I try, though, it seems like where you're saying, but getting to it somewhat, I think are a lot sweeter. And I think it's just, to some extent, this mix isn't really all that good. We'll just shoot a bunch of sugary sweetness in there, and it'll tick off what everybody's looking for, which is something nice and sweet. And they just push off a lot of sweet stuff. And I think when people first start mixing their own and they cut that sweetener down and they start actually tasting the flavors, you get something entirely different than you do when you're vaping a lot of the commercial juice. Now I'm not saying all commercial juices are that way. I'm just saying that it seems to me that a lot of them seem to be a lot sweeter than the stuff that mixers usually mix.
Yeah, look, generally speaking, I think that was definitely so. I think I'm watching it especially change quite a lot in the last year. The vaping market is they're becoming more educated, are demanding better e-liquid, and they're not minding. They don't mind paying for it either. I've spent a bit of time in a vape shop, and the going price for 60 ml e-liquid here in Australia is probably around about that $20-$25 mark. But if there's a really well nuanced recipe, compared to a $30 packet of cigarettes, which would only get you about 20 cigarettes here in Australia, people don't mind paying that $30 to get a really well nuanced, balanced, decent recipe that isn't overly sweetened, that's fair and square balanced. And let tell you, they come back and they let you know what juice they've been using when they want to change their coils, and their coils are going too quickly. They tell you. The customers will tell you. I don't know if any of you guys have done any time in a vape shop, but the customers would definitely tell you in no uncertain words.
I disagree with that.
The coils went.
Like, I disagree with that. Like, generally, like, I own a vape shop, and so does Danny. And I'm sure he'll agree with me here. Like, majority of customers don't care about how the e-liquid tastes as long as it's cheap and it keeps them vaping instead of smoking. The majority of people seem to be like that.
They do. But I try and change it. So, what I explained to them, that there is another world out there where you can have really good flavour, but you just got to pay for it, that's all. But like Bobo says, most people want to come in, have the shittest, cheapest device they can find, and the same with liquid as well, because they don't want to spend any money, really. And then once they get coming in and, you can get to know on a personal level, then you can sort of introduce into the premium style, and that's when they make that step, I think, and they don't mind paying £15. But originally, when they first come in, they don't want to spend more than a £5. A £10 is way too much for them.
That sounds like me when I first started.
Yeah.
And I thought DIY would be cheap.
If you go down a rabbit hole, in.
Yeah.
Mark H is just asking, has anybody heard of magical flavour concentrates? I've never heard of them.
I made a mix called Rainbows and Unicorns, which I'm going to release later this week. I thought it was pretty magical, but I've never heard of a brand.
I'm assuming it's probably rebranded. There's only certain flavour companies that do e-liquids. So they're usually rebranded flavour houses that they're releasing as their own normally. That's usually what happens when you get one that you've not heard of. So I don't know. I can't tell you, Mark. I've not tried them.
I'll throw a picture of them in the Monkey on Juice group, and between everyone in there, we'll have a little look on it. Speaking of which, actually, I'm going to throw a little plug on the group that Net Reality started on Sunday, I think it was, and me and him are both the admins on it. It's going to be a platform on Facebook for DIY. Let me find it.
Yeah, sort of start a group for beginners, help everybody out, talk about the one shots, and just like small recipes with 3 or 4 flavors.
Yeah.
I think, and with custard, I think that is a good way to get in the custards too. You kind of on the button there, Graham, is that's finding the right baseline custard. And just finding out what you enjoy on it. Do you want a sweeter edge? Do you want to add a caramel? Do you want to add a fruit? And keeping it pretty simple, understanding that a heap of super sweet, I guess, as Bill was probably alluding to, is what may have and still does get prominently thrown in a lot of commercial stuff. But, there are other sweeteners, and I challenge others to explore what type of sweeteners, particularly with custard, to use and think outside the box. Forget about super sweet. Put that aside for a moment. Think about things like cotton candy. Good old Kevin Reed, aka Creed, was probably the first person to discover the magic of cotton candy with Capella V1. So go and out that profile on ELR. But there are other ways to go about sweetening. Marshmallows are fantastic to use with custard to especially help sweeten and add body to a custard recipe. Golden Syrup by Vape Train, if you can get your fingers on that, if you like a nice little bit of dark sweetness. It's not as bold and difficult to use as, say, a TFA brown sugar in a custard. Find the baseline flavour, I think, in a custard is the way to go. There are so many fantastic ones. My top 5, do we want to hear my top 5?
Yeah.
Custards? It's tough. There is no particular order because it really, really does depend on your palate. As we discussed earlier, whether you want something eggier, whether you want something creamier, whether you want something sweeter or silkier. My top 5 would go something like this in no particular order. Inawera custard, if you want that lovely thick type of eggy custard, almost what I call a traditional vanilla slice or mille filet or something like that. I can't pronounce it or speak French. But that type of thick gelatinous type of custard, if you like. TFA Custard V2 has certainly helped quite a lot, as we've touched on already. I haven't done a lot with it, but it certainly has a nice bit of body. It's definitely nice and smooth. It's not TFA. Don't get it confused with the original TFA Custard. That one needs a little bit of patience. It has got a couple of little rough edges to my palate. But TFA Custard 2, I think, is a lot more generally pleasing to most. It's kind of eggy, but not too eggy. And that's nice. So that's 2. We've got Inawera. I want to talk about Mullenberry Legendary Custard. Look, Legendary Custard originally I thought was an absolute bottle of disappointment because it was like a pourable commercial custard, if you like, and everything you liked in a good quality pourable custard. However, it had no body. It had that wonderful silky smooth front to it, but it had no body. It didn't seem to volumize when you vaped it. And most people I know like a really nice, good voluminous vape, a good satisfying voluminous vape. So it needs support, but I can't deny the silkiness, if you like, the smoothness of the front of the Legendary Custard by Mullenberry is fantastic and well worth working with and finding a supporting role such as a marshmallow, etc. to work with. It works well. Look, Premium Custard, FA Premium Custard is absolutely been a phenomenon since it's been available over the last year and a half or so. FA Premium Custard isn't available across the world. It comes from out of the UK. A lot of people say, oh, but it's got all that diacetyl and stuff in it. Sure, if you don't like that sort of stuff, stay away from it. As we talked about, it's 1/10th, 1/10th or 1/4000th approximately from the last study that I saw of diacetyl compared to smoking. So, and that was from, I think, a Dr. Fasolino study from memory. So, but the FA Premium Custard, eggy, full, rich, smooth, silky, beautiful, 2.2. I've seen some people even push it up to 3 or 4%. Well worth it. Absolutely well worth it. I don't know if that's 5 yet, but I'll probably get to 5 by saying this, is that think of other flavours, which I would highly recommend, like an Inawera creme brulee or a Vape Train creme brulee, and think of what the properties other concentrates have that aren't necessarily just a custard baseline flavour, but a consolidating flavour. So obviously, like that creme brulee has that nice hard cracked toffee top, and Inawera creme brulee I think does that hard sweetness or that slight little bit dark sweetness. So therefore, there's no real reason in a lot of occasions to necessarily drop extra golden syrup if you want it, or extra brown sugar if you want it. It's already got it. You might think, and there might be a good baseline then to add maybe some premium to, because you want some more eggy smoothness to it, and working on with things from there. So yeah, there's all sorts of different ways you can do things. Consolidating flavour consolidators or consolidated flavour concentrates. In other words, things like almond custard by Wonder Flavours, coconut custard by Wonder Flavours are fantastic baseline flavours to think about also in that realm, where you want coconut going in the custard, you want that almond, you might want both, you might pair them both, and then you might add something else over the top or underneath just to enhance that custard. Anyway, yeah, so there you go. I hope that all made some sort of sense.
No, it's fine.
That's great.
I
Do you
definitely
get the
think
feeling that do you get the feeling that basically though when someone's trying to get into mixing, and then when you look on the ELR or when you're going through what you were just basically going through there, and you see recipes that have got like 12 flavors in them, and then you're going out to order your flavors, and you're getting this and you're getting that, and the next thing you know, you were doing this to try to cut back on the money that you were spending by mixing it, and you end up buying so many flavors that you've got 2,000 flavors, and a bunch of them you hardly ever touch or use. I think you just, when you first start, you kind of get a baseline for what you want, what you like, what you think you're going to like. And, and I think basically you don't need, sometimes I think it gets confusing for people just starting mixing because they think they need 500 different flavors because they got to put 0.1% of this or something of this or something of that. That's all got to go in there. And when you first start, you don't have to have every one of these things and everything else. As you kind of go along, you just kind of put that stuff in. It builds up. Your queue will build up as you go along.
I think it's an awesome point, Bill. I think it's an awesome point. I say don't be a numpty like me with over 2,100 concentrates. That does not make me a better mixer. If you have that many concentrates, you are crazy. You are insane. And I'm saying this to myself. And I say this to my mirror every day. Having more concentrates does not make you a better mixer. Being able to mix what you enjoy, the most economically viable way for you. If you can mix the most with the least, you are a great mixer. You are the best mixer that you can ever be when you have got the least amount of concentrates that you need to create your all-day vape and keep you off those stinkies. That's who the winning mixer is, and that's who the best mixer is, in my opinion. So, that's the way I look at it, Bill. You're absolutely right. And look, one of the biggest failings, I guess, was single flavor testing. I didn't do as much as I should have real early. Thankfully, I learned early the importance of single flavor testing, meaning literally grab each concentrate, as Benny talked about earlier. Is single flavored, I think, was just going to talk about soon. Some flavor concentrates just to see how they play, see what they do with certain percentages, and without that, you don't know how things are, or it finds it very difficult to identify certain flavors in a recipe. And what is really, really fun, once you start rolling with some single flavor tests, and you go, oh shit, I know that custard. That was in Timbuktu's commercial custard. And it's kind of fun. It's like, I'm onto you guys. I know what custard you're using.
Yeah. Les were on about that the other day because I think it's Juicy Strawberry. Is it? Which one does Juicy Strawberry? I know TFA do one. And there's
flavor of Juicy Strawberry is an absolute banging flavour at 2% in mine.
But he says that he's had to, because he couldn't get it, so he had to swap out the flavour to the TFA, which is very similar. And he says the only way you know that is by trying them. You won't know them any other way. That if the flavours are similar, if you haven't tried a lot of flavours.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what we were on about last week, is trying them when you get them. Don't just think, oh yeah, I'll put 5 or 6% in. Try them at 2%, see what you can taste, and then build it from there where you think, and just take it up a little bit till you get to a flavour that you actually want. Like I say, as I said, Pippa might do this TFA vanilla custard V2 at 3%, but I might like it at 4%, 5%. Different people are thinking, but just so don't try it too far, because you will then go think, oh god, that's disgusting, and it's not. It's probably because you've over percentages done it than underdone it. So that's what we talked about that last week with regarding testing. Try it out, test your flavours, which I've just done a little 2% of the V2 by TFA just to give that a try and see what we're getting. It's easier to add than remove, yeah. Daytime Fountain's got it bang on there. It's easier to. So I'm not ignoring chat. It's just that we're listening to Pepper. Pepper. That's what some people get from Custard's pepper. Pipper. And I'm trying to do like 25 things all at once. I keep telling you, I'm a man, I can't juggle.
It bros man me home and away, Mark.
Yeah,
the name Pippa in an Australian accent, right? Because, see, here's the thing, right? Because obviously, like, we're descendants from the mothership there of the UK, and you guys sort of talk a little bit funny, but what happens is when it's proven fact, when people come down under here to Australia, they experience our sun, our lifestyle, and in earlier times, our slavery, you begin to talk a little bit slower. So therefore, Pippa becomes Pippa. See what I mean? All those years of sun, slavery, beaches, lifestyle, it just slows down and changes your accent. So there you go. There's a little accent lesson on how Australians became talking like this.
Well, it's all right as long as you didn't come in and say, "G'day, you fucking dickheads."
I cannot explain what happens in South Australia, and I will not even try and start.
You're doing a Welshman.
Yeah, Sam's a Welshman, yeah.
But we all love the bogan. We all love the bogan.
Exactly, yeah. Everybody loves the bogan.
The other thing that you'll find on flavors is sometimes, and that's where we're talking about custards, is like when I first got strawberry and I tried my first strawberry, I had ordered from Liquid Barn and got strawberry. And I put it in something and I thought, man, strawberry vape is not really all that great. You know, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not that great. And then later on, you go get somebody else's strawberry and you're like, oh, wow, now this is the strawberry I was looking for. So sometimes you got to realize that the first thing that you order and try to mix just may not be, that company doesn't make that flavor the way you want it to be, because they are all not alike by any means. Everybody that makes a different custard or a different banana or a different strawberry, they all have a different taste to them. And sometimes you have to keep ordering from a different company to get that strawberry or that custard or that banana that your palate was thinking you were going to get in the first place. Sometimes you don't hit it on your first one, and it's not your fault. It's what you got is just not that flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to try and look up. Earlier in the show, I alluded to the custard not having to wait a hell of a lot of time. But I'm not going to claim to fame at all the greatness of Fresh 03. If Fresh 03 was watching this, he would be cringing because he doesn't like all that. He doesn't like that being called greatness and all that sort of thing. He's such a humble guy.
He is, yeah.
That's what makes him so lovable. But look, can I just what's the best way to screen share? Can I go through Zoom?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I think you can do on
Yeah,
Zoom.
Okay, if I can, I'll see what works out better.
That's it.
Okay, this is the one that he calls old school. So Inawera biscuit. Look, Inawera biscuit isn't as imperative because sometimes, you can't get it. This is what is imperative. Liquid Barn vanilla ice cream at 4% and vanilla pudding Flavora at 0.5%. What? That's all? Yes, that is all. And 4% Liquid Barn vanilla ice cream, 0.5% vanilla pudding. No, they can't see that on the screen properly, but that is okay. What I'll do is I'll pop out a link into the chat so people can pick up on that. Unbelievable. That one blew my mind. A wonderful, good, thick, rich, full custard. I'm not kidding. Within 3 days.
Yeah.
Look, he'll probably say 5, give it a week, but within 3 days, seriously. Look, he's just been mixing long enough, throwing enough flavors together that he's just come across a fantastic hack, if you like, when it comes to custard or DIY liquid custard creation. So I couldn't come on here without at least shouting that out and people having that knowledge.
Yeah, but that's what I say, yeah. See you later, Michelle. Thank you for popping into our little show. Much appreciated.
Yeah, later.
Did you say she's got a Facebook group, Bill? Oh,
I'll pick up where Bill's frozen. Sorry, Bill.
Back.
Michelle runs a fantastic beginners DIY liquid Facebook group. Just look up beginners DIY liquid on Facebook. Sorry, Bill, you've come back.
Yeah, it's she's got it's a really good group. I got in it I don't know, a few weeks back, and it's a really good group. Share a lot of information, a lot of good recipes, and then just people come on and ask a lot of good questions. Sometimes they ask questions that you hadn't thought of, and you're like, well, I wish I would have asked that. So you go back and copy it, and then you go ask it in some other group so they think you were the first one.
So yeah, so you've got two there. You've got Bobo's new group, Net Reality's new group on Facebook, which put in, and you've also got that. So use them both. Use of everything you've got to do this mixing journey. You know, they're there for you, and people are there to help you. You've got people there to help you. And like I say, we're trying to show you where you can get resources from. Like say, Fresh from the Kitchen. He does a show which is quite good. Jennifer Jarvis. I used to like Jennifer Jarvis. She doesn't do so much now on YouTube, does she?
No, sadly, look, family life for Jen Jarvis a little bit more these days while the kids are young and she wants to be there growing up, and fair enough too. Tell you what, she's earned more than her penance as far as respect goes in DIY liquid creation. The amount of notes, time, information she's put out there is nothing short of phenomenal. But look, there are other channels like Homegrown Alchemy, which are fantastic. That have a bunch of absolutely banging mixes from around the world. They do a thing each week, and they're great to learn from. There's a crazy crew called Developed, which are a bunch of guys trying to collaborate and make a recipe the best they can. So they go, all right, mixing.
Daytime Frank.
Daytime Frank.
Yeah.
How could you ignore the one and only Daytime Frank?
Exactly, Daytime Frank as well.
No, the man, the myth, the legend. Exactly. That's Daytime Frank.
Daytime Frank.
He's the guy that George Clooney models himself on. So, wonderful crew, and he does his mixing in the kitchen with a bit of banter and a bit of fun there, I think, there as well, every week. So, so there are so many great people to learn from.
This is a banging custard, I've got to tell you.
You like it?
Yeah, it's sweet as well. It's a little bit sweeter than the V1. So it's not as flat as the V1, but it seems to have a little bit more of a moorishness to it, and that's only at 2%.
Would you call it a smooth sweetness or a hard sweetness, Benny?
I wouldn't say it's harsh. I wouldn't say it's an hard sweetness. I think it's just a
smooth sweetness.
Yeah, one that makes your lips go.
Yes.
Rather than go like that. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. So I didn't want to ask that as a loaded question, and I think this is important in DIY. But rather than say, look, here's my opinion, this is what I think, what do you think? It's going to put a preconceived idea in your mind. I'd rather ask, do you think it's hard or smooth or whatever, without my preconceived notion, particularly of that flavour? And I agree. I agree that it is a nice, smooth type of sweetness, and that's what makes it
it's
really,
not, it's
really
that
effective.
It lingers more than the original version.
Yeah.
It seems to be more of a, you think, I like that. So it's definitely, I don't know, have you mixed one up yet, Net? What have you?
No, I completely forgot about it.
See, I can multitask a little bit, but yeah, I'd definitely say pick up that as a banging custard. Definitely, if you're wanting that more sort of sweeter, moreish. It is more like a little bit like an ambrosia custard than an eggy custard. It's more of a like the dairy sort of notes rather than a eggy. Like, do you know what I mean?
What I kind of liken it to, or compare it against, is V1. Yeah, you had to sort of steep out, obviously, for a long time, Capella V1, which has been the baseline custard for a lot of years, of course. But what I used to have to do with V1 is I needed to add a little bit of flavour out caramel and a little bit of flavour out butterscotch. Not real high, about 0.5% of each would do the trick. With maybe a little bit of cotton candy or a little bit of brown sugar or the like. And literally only a drop. But yeah, without having to do that with the V1 and without having to wait 6 weeks, the TFA2 kind of has that slight smooth, butterscotchy, caramelly, smooth back note, if you like, that is, as you say, lingers and is a great baseline type of flavour. And I think they've finally cracked the jackpot with that one.
Yeah, I think they have. I think they've hit that out of park of that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it is a. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one to pick up for your Arsenal, is that one. I'm going to try out that one that I didn't. Where are we? I might have a go in a wearer in a second. Clean that up and.
If you're going to have a go at Inaware, prepare yourself. I'll tell you.
Have you tried it on testing, Bill?
The only thing I did was I put it in that. I tried a little of that a few days later, and it basically then the knuckle test I've tried a couple of times on it, and it is going to take a long time. Is all I can say. It's like I said, kind of to me right now, it's kind of a mix between kerosene and gas. It's like you just put them both in the same can and squirted them in there.
I think I should have cleaned that out first.
Steep it out.
But it goes with Rice Krispies.
Oh, well, I have got, you mentioned that, I have Noisy Elf cereal here, which is basically Rice Krispies, you know.
Benny, you could try, if you go to all the recipes, I put my Just Custard up, which I use as a base kind of thing with a little bit of notes in the bottom. So basically it's 2.5% Premier custard, 1% Inaware custard, and 0.75 cotton candy. And in the notes I said you could swap out the cotton candy for golden syrup, or you can swap it out for French vanilla to make a kind of a killer custard.
Yeah, like Capella French vanilla, which was as referring to, not the V2, not TFA, but Capella French vanilla.
I like the Capella French vanilla myself.
Yeah, look, I think that's it's creaming out. It's creaming out the body of a custard recipe. That concentrate should be explored, in my opinion. Yeah.
There was one thing I did try with, I'd say that base which you use. I've been throwing everything into that base, trying to find different things which work. Is Vape Train's Love.
Vape Train's Love is a fascinating flavour. Yeah. I think so. Again, if you want to sort of milk it down, it's got that little bit of white chocolate in there. It's basically like a white chocolate creamy type of flavour. Is the Vape Train Love to my palate, and I can see that. I can see that kind of working. And in fact, any good white chocolate concentrate is worth exploring with a custard. You know, the wonderful smooth one. Mullenberry have a brand new white chocolate. And when I say brand new, it's a few months old, but it's the newest white chocolate that I know of on the market, and probably the smoothest, in my opinion. That would work quite well in a custard, so I could do that.
I might have to get that. I chase white chocolate constantly.
Yeah.
The combination which was noted one time, which was is it Flavora and Flavor West together? I think it's 3% Flavora, 2% Flavor West, if I can remember. That was a lovely white chocolate.
Oh, yes, okay. Interesting. Flavora and Flavor West, I can see working. Yeah, definitely. They're both great white chocolates on their own. But the Polish, they make you use a higher percentage. The Polish, but they give you results most of the time, I find. But yeah, and there's certainly nothing wrong with those flavors. It's kind of interesting to think about. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can take a custard, and there's so many flavors you can accent with it. You know, I'm thinking now along the lines of things like condensed milk by Perillum, and that condensed milk, can add that kind of almost caramel type of richness, if you like, if you push it well enough with the custard as well. You know, there's so many different ways to explore.
Once you've got a
Yeah,
baseline on something, you can sort of play with it then, can't you? Once you've got to where you want it to be, you can then add things to it to make it what you know, once you've got that base, that's where you can, like say, you can add your apple, you can add your chocolate, you can add your strawberry, you can start building from that then. But once you've got a baseline, then it all sort of builds like a block then, doesn't it? You know, you start putting you put your foundation down, then you've got to put your bricks in to make it to what you want it to be then.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of thinking about it a little bit, and then look, that's what I basically do with all recipe creation. I bang out a whole heap of thoughts. I literally can end up with 15 concentrates in a recipe list in ELR, and I go, right, what do I want to achieve with each concentrate, and how are they going to play with each other? Until I narrow that down as much as I possibly can. How is there any other concentrates that I can consolidate a recipe with? And bring it all back. Obviously, that I would have done the single flavour tests initially, so I understand that those flavours do and how they often play with others. And then mixing it and giving it a go. It's not a 100% fail safe, but look, as you go on your journey, it gets a lot easier.
Well, we can't forget bananas and custard. We haven't talked about bananas and custard.
I've never found a nice banana.
The gaffer do it.
Subarome flambe. It's a cooked banana in custard, and if you put that in custard, it's bananas and custard.
Yeah,
Right.
the Subarome banana flambe is definitely a decent flavour. Got to be kind of careful with it. It has an interesting lingering back note when you push it above around about the 1.5%. Below about the 1.5%, it will sort of sit back and kind of mellow in. But that's just my opinion based on my palate. I
normally put golden syrup in it because it's bananas. It's just my 3 favourites.
Yeah. I don't think you can go past Wonder Flavors. Got to get out of this brain so early in the morning. I apologise. Wonder Flavors banana puree is an absolutely wonderful flavour. Some people, including myself, get this like heavy, offensive type of alcohol almost up front. Wait for it. Give it a couple of weeks. That all settles down, and in the custard recipe, it will settle down and become that wonderful, delicious, cooked, soft type of banana flavour. I pair it well with Vape Train banana custard, which I use the sweet note in that banana custard by Vape Train. It is more of a banana lolly custard, but it's kind of tricking the mind to think it's a sweetness, if you like, to go in the custard as well. So, yeah. So there's a couple.
Yeah, Dee were asking what's your most popular recipe, Pippa?
My most popular recipe of all time has just happened in the last week. And look, honestly, it's just blown my mind. Absolutely blown my mind. It would be Goddess milk, which is literally a strawberry milk.
Do you know, I didn't realise that with you. I did see that over there when I was looking on. Is it on ELR?
Mm-hmm.
That's on ELR. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about third from top on ELR on most used thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's not get it confused with the fantastic, great recipe that was the greatest for its particular time called God Milk.
Yeah. I've mixed that loads of times. I've got to say, everything that tastes like trifle is off of that. Do you know what I mean? Because it just tastes like, to me, it just tastes like a trifle. And every time I get one that says trifle, I'm like, yeah, that's just God's milk. I'll go make it myself.
I still recommend that most newer mixers, for one of their first mixers, should mix God milk, not Goddess milk, God milk. The reason being is that mix is a lesson in steeping, in just how much stuff can change and why patience is worth it. Because it doesn't become a biscuity, cheesecakey type of mess that it is in day 1 to day 3. By day 5, it's like, what? Where did that cheesecakey mess go? The strawberries made it to the surface and it's just coming through beautifully. And it's a lovely mouthful of milk with just little slight biscuity back notes. That's just me being a little bit fussy. But All full credit to Skittles Ninja, aka Colton Ulrich. That was way ahead of his time back in 2016. He hasn't had to do a good recipe since because he's had that. So
Yeah, well, if you listen to him on the day when it used to do show with Wayne, he just used to say, "Go do that recipe."
yeah, I figured it was time for a bit of a revamp, using all the most modern, newest, best palette of flavors available right now, and that's why I went to work, and I went to work for a long time with strawberries and cream. It's a very, very common profile. But the strawberry milk, I think, to get the right nuances with what's available now, I think I hit the spot, and obviously I hit the spot with many people out there. Some wonderful positive feedback on that, and definitely been up there. OU Tart, I know that's a horrible sounding name, but OU Tart, which was a lemon meringue pie, a little bit richer and fuller and smoother, in my opinion, than good old Daz Cole's. Don't get me wrong, Daz Cole was ahead of his time as well with his Dinner Lady lemon meringue pie. Yeah, so I just revisited that and actually revamped that one again, called OU Tart 2.0, and lovely lemon meringue pie recipe. So they're probably a couple of the most popular, I guess, or well-received recipes that I've put out there. But yeah, look,
there was one that I tried of yours. It was a chocolate honeycomb one.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I feel like I cracked the code there. I cracked the textual code there, because to get a honeycomb, to get that close as possible to the feeling of crunch in your mouth. Like, how do you emulate crunch in a vape? Like, seriously, it's tough. But did you let us sleep, Graham?
I leave everything to sleep for about a month. I have this cycle going, and I come back after a month and go, "Oh, I've got that to do. Oh, yeah," and just head towards it, because I set aside every Sunday to make stuff, but I tend to make a juice every night.
Mm.
The Capella Serial 27 working in with the honeycomb. I tested it as a theory, as you do with a lot of things, a little hypothesis, and hope for the best. And it really steeped out absolutely wonderfully. And that Serial 27, that slight honey note in that, with that acetylpyrazine that blends in well on the steep with that almost violet crumble. Don't know what do you have over there in the UK? Do you have violet crumbles? Crunchy type of honeycomb flavour just seemed to hit the spot, and I just happened to get the right type of commercial chocolate flavour.
You just give me an idea for me toffee crisps. Yes, kerosene.
See, that's it.
What it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Benny, I didn't see you making bad faces. Did you vape that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've just done. In fact, I've mixed them up now, but I've mixed them up with other one. But that one's what I've just re-dripped in. That one is definitely in Aware as custard. It's a little bit thicker. It's not right chemically, but it's thicker than the the Vanilla V2. It's more going down the V1 Capella than the TFA route. I think it'd be big them two together. You might have quite a nice thick sweet custard there with them two together. You know, it'd be quite it'd be probably quite nice with that. But yeah, it'd probably get better. Like I say, you need to leave them a little bit, you know, a week or so to let them come through. But yeah, I don't think it's that bad, Bill. If you're 2%, it's quite. What did you use it at?
I think it was less than 2. I know I had on my notes definitely keep it under 3, but I think I was like 1.5 or 1%, 1 or 1.5, because I'm like I said, having not really done that much, I'm trying to start off with something that I didn't get too much of. I just wanted it to be subtle, and then that way I could find out, because like I said, I am a custard virgin, you know. And at some point, I'll do it on this show. I will bust my cherry on this show on custard. How's that?
The thing what you need to do, Bill, to get an idea of what a custard, you do need to sort of taste a custard, don't you? Really?
Yeah. I'm going to just mix the two that I have. I'm going to try. The one is got a real lemony taste if you do it on the knuckle.
That's
the Flavor Arts. Yeah.
That's definitely that one.
Yeah, that lemon note does settle a little bit. But, when you get these nuances in the background, play with them, work with them.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in that OU tart recipe, that's the custard I used. It had the lemon back note. Work with it. Go fight it. I also, it's sort of a fun way to go about it, in my opinion. But yeah, so it's interesting that you have experienced that thicker style mouthfeel of a custard from the Inawera custard. And that's what I was saying when I was talking about the top 5 is that Inawera custard is like, do you call them a millefeuille or some shit like that over there? We just call them a vanilla slice here.
Yeah, vanilla slice. Yeah, thick vanilla slice.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, with a wonderful, wonderful cream cheese frosting or icing on the top.
Yeah, vanilla slices. That's what we call them. Gorillas.
Yeah, you gotta have one of them every time you go to the bakery. I think.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, we've had a few.
Speak for yourself, you bastard.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like Bavarian slices? They're like vanilla slices, but they have a little bit of jam in as well. And there's a company called the Yorkshire Vapor that do it under the Mary's Kitchen one, I think.
I didn't like that liquid at all,
Did you like it? I thought it was sweet. It was nice.
Very, very, very muted on everything. I got like the jam in it, but that was about it.
Yeah, I think the banana custard that they do under the Gaffer range. In fact, the Gaffer is one of my biggest sellers.
Orange custard is a banger.
Yeah.
Orange custard. OG custard. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, but Empire Vape Co., their colour custard is my biggest. That's the number one.
That was the first vape juice I ever had.
Was it?
Yeah,
it's a massive seller in mine.
That's why I'm DIYing. I'm only joking.
I probably charge more than Chris.
I'm actually joking. Do you know when you first start vaping and you can't taste anything?
Yeah.
Oh, vanilla slice, right?
You don't have any taste buds still.
I think mine must have heavily steeped or something because they quite tasted the ones that I received off Chris.
Speaking of custards, have you tried the Firehouse one? 999 it's called. It's a mint custard and it's fantastic. It's one of the best custards I've ever came across in my life. By a company called Firehouse. They're always at all the expos and stuff like that.
Well, I've not tried that.
It's the story of it because the dude who owns it, he's a fireman. So all the flavors that they've got, they're all based on something to do with like the fire service. But the mint custard is something that in history they used to eat when they got the 999 call to like warm them up and get themselves ready before they went in to fight the fire.
Ah, cool.
It's unreal, man. It's absolutely
I
unreal.
have to try that. Terry Taylor's on about steeping. Is there a steeping method you would say is most effective? Do whatever you think you want to do, mate, because everybody will tell you totally different. Tell you that now.
It's so...
Stick it in a box and leave it.
Stick it in a box. I stick it in a cupboard, dark cupboard. People say leave it out for a little bit, then stick it in a dark cupboard. Other people say stick it in ultrasonic cleaner.
Hey, Bobo, have you ever tried that one that Mike Vapes has quite a lot? Is it Bolly Boule, somehow Boule Bolly or something like that? I'm sure it's a banana custard or something, but that's supposed to be nice.
Not bad, that. Terry Tarr's a real good customer of mine. He lives just above the shop, to be fair. It's fucking brilliant. So good to see you here, Terry.
The best one that I've come across, because I've heard them all, put them down your pants, put them in between your boobs for the day, put them in your car console. But I don't know, this is probably not as good as any of those, but I thought it was fantastic. Genius is put the bottle in a pillowcase. Do you have clotheslines, Hills hoists that go rotating clotheslines over there? Yeah, and you swing that around as hard as you can to give it some centrifugal force while the e-liquid is in the pillowcase pegged to the clothesline. That's one of the best that I've come up with, that I've heard of. And look, I think it'll mix your e-liquid really well. It won't necessarily make it better any sooner.
I've said it, put it on a drill, spin it round.
One of the things I do with it, every time I make something new, I'll put it in a hot water bath for like 10 minutes and then just shake the fuck out of it. Yeah. And then maybe if it's winter, I'll leave it on the radiator overnight. Don't know if it does any difference, but it's always how I've steeped my liquids.
Yeah, I had a ultrasonic cleaner with a hot water bath and one of these.
Yeah, for mixing.
for mixing the thing, and I don't use any of them anymore. I just shake them, put them in the drawer.
You need to give them a little shake every now and again. That's the only thing I'd say. Is just every now and again, if you're going to leave it for 6 weeks or whatever, just take it out and give it a little bit of a shake. Yeah, and put it back. Forget about it.
I think Bill should test his custard.
Not today.
If it's a new custard, it should be
We've
ready.
already run like an hour and a half, so I'm not going to test.
I'm going to say that. Yeah, we're coming up to sort of time to call it a night.
Yeah.
I would say, Pippa, fantastic for you to come on. It's been really exciting for myself. I'm sure the rest of it, as you might have heard, has all been quiet. We've all just been listening to you and soaking it up. I hope chats, sort it up from you. You're more than welcome, as we say at Daytime Frank, whenever you want to come on. I know it's early morning for yourself, but if you're ever stuck and you want to come on, just hit us up and say, I'll come on, Benny, or Bobo, and we'll fit you in. Not a problem. Because there's people like yourself that are giving wealth and knowledge out there, same as Daytime Frank does. It gives that wealth of knowledge to us and to everybody else, especially being in UK where there's not that much of a mixing. It's behind a scene rather than push forward, which it used to be more forward, which is what, obviously, with this, what we're trying to do, is just get everybody more involved. So thank you very much for coming on. Go check it out on ELR. Definitely try, because like I say, that one is third from top now. Is that if you're an experienced mixer, go check out that new what is it called? Your God's Milk improvement.
There's Goddess Milk.
Goddess
Milk. And pretty easy to find. You can look at it via the recipe if you can't find my profile on the front page at the moment, all the flavours. You'll see there's Custard Cracked, the custard recipe that you can confidently vape. That's very vapeable, more than vapeable within 24 hours, even fantastic in a week.
Well, I've got everything on that, so I'll give that a whirl and see what that's like this week. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. It's been an honour. Absolute honour. Privilege.
Pass it round and we'll say us goodbye. So we'll go with Danny.
Cheers, Benny. Good to meet Pippa and Net Reality. Net Reality is always in our chat. And Pippa's very knowledgeable. And I think, if possible, she should make it a permanent fixture.
6 o'clock in the morning, mate.
Well, you know what I mean. You put in the hard work, you get the rewards. Always a pleasure to see my buddy from across the pond, Kentucky Bill, and our Scouts friend, Bobo from the Vapory. Always a pleasure to see you, buddy. And Benny, my brother, thank you for inviting me again. And thank you, everybody, for joining in chat. If you've not already done so, give the show a thumbs up. And I'll see you on the Northern Union Vape Show this Sunday at 9 p.m. I'll hand it over to Net Reality.
Oh, cheers. It's been great. I was dead nervous to begin with, really kind of worried. The vodka helped, but good company also does help. And if you want to start vape DIYing at the moment, I've set up a group on Facebook called Monkey on Juice. So if you pop over there, we're basically doing very, very simple recipes, and also people are recommending one-shots. So you can really start very, very simple and then ease yourself into it. And hopefully I'll be on again. Will I be on again?
Yeah.
New fourth horse, mate.
Maybe I'm kind of voting no.
You tied down. You tied down Bill. I tied down Bill first, then I tied down Bobo, now I've tied down you. And then we're going to have repeat customer with Pippa on, and what is it's coming on as well. Daytime Frank, we'll get him back on, and Les. Yeah. So we're getting people that are experienced mixers. I might try and, when we get a little bit going, I might actually try and...
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. You're already
Hit Fresh 03 up, see if he'll come on, and, you know what I mean, a couple of the naughty people later. See if we can get some of them on to chat and get some knowledgeable experience, like I say, coming on and sharing their knowledge with us as well, to the UK audience that don't really know where to sort of look. So So yes, yeah, you're back on. So yes, carry on. Sorry.
And I'll pass it on to Bill, who YouTube doesn't like because of his complex quotes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's yeah, golfing incident in '99, and you had the year wrong. But yeah, I've enjoyed the show today, and basically, I enjoy each one for different reasons. But you know, you learn, you grow. Watching the people in chat, the various questions that get asked, and then the panel that we have here that may be getting a little rough around the edges with Net coming on, but you know what the heck, it's I enjoyed it. Net, I'm only joking, of course. We love having you on, and I want to thank you, Benny, as always, for having me here, and I'll pass it on to Bobo. Got him when he's vaping.
Thank you very much. I have been a little bit quiet today, but me and Annette did drink 1.5 liters of vodka last night. Shouldn't be doing that on a school night. But yeah, it's been really educational. Thank you once again, Pippa, for coming on. I know it's super duper early over there for you, so we proper appreciate it. I hope everyone in chat learned a little bit. I definitely learned a little bit, and I hope all the casters, I hope you all learned stuff as well. Very, very good show. And I'm going to go to bed soon.
Better than saying you were going for a pee last week. Pippa, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Okay, well, thank you so much again for having me. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to meet you all. If you want to learn a little bit more about mixing, as we talked about during the show many times, follow mixing from everywhere. Just type in DIY liquid creation or something into YouTube. There's so many fantastic people. It's fantastic to see this show emerging so fast, Benny. I think you've got a success story on your hands here. Absolutely fantastic. UK badly needs it. Absolutely right. So good on you, Mothership, over there in the UK. Look, if you want to follow what I do, of course, I've got a YouTube channel, DIY Down Under. If you want to keep up with what we do, there's DIYdownunder.com. There's Facebooks and Instagrams and all that sort of thing. We've got 2,000 plus people, crazy Aussies and others from around the world to help each other out mixing on the platform that I started a couple of years ago, which is just a lot of fun. But look, I think the Bogan says it best. I think probably the best thing that did come out of Adelaide here in Australia is, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're DIYing or not, as long as you're not banging the bungers, And I won't say the other stuff; it's kind of inappropriate for me. But as long as you're not banging the bungers, But the main thing I always drive home at the end here, it's easier when you don't have to mix alone, when you don't have to worry about getting stressed or whether am I doing it right, am I doing it wrong, to reach out to a community and have a sense of community, whether it's on my platform, whether it's on any of your guys' platforms or beyond. Together, let's discover, because that's the easiest way to do DIY, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, so thank you very much for chat. I hope you have learnt things. Thank you very much for coming on, people. Like we said, much appreciated. I know it's early there. Do go and give it a subscribe. Go over, obviously just give out everything. We will put, I think a link went up earlier on to her channel. Go give her a subscribe if you would. It'd be fantastic. And thank you everybody else on the cast. Bobo, Net, New Horse, and Kentucky Bill and Big D. Love you all, brothers. And that's it. So we will see you all next week with donuts next week.
Donuts.
Donuts. A bit of a donut. So I will see you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. We off.